Oh my gosh, guys, can you feel it? It's coming. Inktober is just around the corner. I cannot believe it's already September. So of course I have to talk to you about one of my favorite art supplies that's actually not to paint. It is the Pentel Pocket Brush, and I've mentioned it many times in videos before. So I wanted to take you through this painting and also show you a little bit about this awesome pen. If you've never tried it, you definitely should, especially now that Inktober is just around the corner. It's definitely a great excuse to get your hands on one. They're relatively inexpensive and a lot of fun to play with. I will admit that brush pens for me were not the easiest thing to get used to. Even though I am a painter, you would think that that would have came a little bit more naturally, but I did have to practice with it a bit beforehand. Here I would like to show you just the kind of thick and thin lines you can get, although this is not the best example with the old one. I destroyed this one a while ago, so I had to buy a replacement, and this is the Japanese packaging. I bought it off of Amazon, and I think the only reason why I went for the Japanese packaging is because it came as a bundle with several more cartridges. And I go through these like underwear, so I need as many as I can get my hands on for a good price. So this is the piece that I destroyed that nib on. I filled the background. This is a watercolor sketchbook, and I really wanted some of that graininess to come through, so I did kind of a dry brushing side effect with it and ruined that tip a bit, so it doesn't come to such a fine point anymore. But I think it's okay because I've had this particular brush for well over a year, so I've marked it with some red nail polish so I can make sure to keep those two separate, or at least to be able to tell the difference. Because of course I'm not going to get rid of the old one. I will still use it, especially for those dry brush effects, so I don't go ruin this new one. So it is very easy to install. The nib is a synthetic brush. It is actually a brush. Those little fibers come apart. And if you just unscrew the barrel, there is the way you are going to install your cartridge. So you just line it up and press down. And you're supposed to squeeze the barrel a little bit to get the ink to flow through, but I am a dummy and I didn't remember or read directions, so I'm just trying to work it through right now. If you get one of these, do be careful about how you store it. I have left it pointed down before so I could get the last of the ink out of the cartridge, and it actually ended up dripping into the cap and was kind of messy, so not recommended. I like to leave it up. I don't even carry this one so much in my little pencil pouch unless I am specifically going to use it right away, just in case. Where I live, you can easily find the disposable versions of this pen in any of the art sections, and you can even get them in different colors, including a gray. But I like this one far better because of the ink. It is waterproof once it is dry, and I feel like the tip is just much better quality. I also really appreciate the fact that I can reload the cartridges as needed, whereas the other ones, it's once they're empty, that's it. I have seen people hack those, but I'd rather not mess with it. This pen, for me, is really great. It's, again, pretty inexpensive, and I don't tend to spend a whole lot on art supplies as individual products. I mean, cumulatively, yes. I spend a lot on art products, and I do recommend getting the best that you can afford, at least to a certain degree. This pen I have just really loved and have not found any reason to upgrade to fancier brush pens. Maybe one day, but I really do like this pen a lot. So Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday and time of year in general, where a lot of people are real hype about Christmas and start a month or more in advance. That's how I feel about Halloween. This particular picture is not necessarily Halloween. I do love everything witchy as well, but the added eye in the planchette I think kind of makes it just a little bit creepier than your normal planchette. Although the whole idea of a Ouija board, or Ouija board as some say, is creepy, like communing with spirits that have gone. That is definitely stuff that can give some people nightmares. As I said, the brush pen does require a lot of control and probably less coffee than I have had today. So my lines are not as clean as I would like or as they are usually, but we'll just roll with it. I have messed up plenty of drawings that I've done with this pen by smearing the ink with my hand before it was dry or trying to layer things on top such as watercolor or marker. So please make sure that you do give it ample time to dry before you add extra stuff to it. There's just something about that thick and thin line that just feels so fluid and nice. When I was younger, I used multi-liners much like this Copic set. I think I used a lot of Zig at the time and the Sakura microns a lot. I really remember using Zigs a lot. And I did a lot of comic book art, and even at the time I loved the thick and thin, but brush pens were not that popular here because this was ages ago, guys. I am no spring chicken. And to make a thick and thin line with those was excruciating. Having to go over lines with different pen sizes or just doubling up certain lines never was quite as fluid. Although I was a lot less skilled at the time, I would have loved to get one of these sooner and practiced with this early on. So I've given the drawing plenty of time to dry. At first I didn't think I was going to color it, but I used a hot press watercolor paper anyways and decided to just go for it. So I'm using my normal self-curated palette, the Mijello 18 Well palette, with a combination of Winsor Newton watercolors and Daniel Smith watercolors in it. My go-to brushes are the three that I've been mentioning lately: the Princeton Velvet Touch in size 8 and 2, and the Trekell Quill Mop Brush. I think it's a size 0. I'm not really sure. I always forget. And I had so much fun with the Jack Richardson metallic watercolors last week that I just keep looking for reasons to add more metallic into pieces. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please do me a favor and go ahead and like and subscribe now. You have no idea how much that means to me. And the paper I'm using is the Fluid Watercolor Block in an 8x8 size. It is a hot press, so the finish on it is quite smooth, which I thought was great for the inking. And I tried to get a lot of the shading down with the basic watercolors before I added the details with the metallics. I wanted the background to have real soft edges, so I wet the entire background before I started dropping in color. And I started with cyan and a purple. I did 2 rounds of this, letting the different rounds dry in between so that they could be transparent layers instead of just all blending the colors together. So this is the first layer. This set really made me want to try out a couple of other brands of metallic watercolors, and I'm not sure which one to get next. So if you have any thoughts, opinions, or something you just want to see me review, please make sure to let me know which set that is. I would love to give it a shot. As I mentioned in last week's video, I like these metallic watercolor set because they activate really nicely. It doesn't take long or a lot of water to get it going, which makes these little details real easy to fill in with the metallic paint. I've seen people use like metallic pens such as the Jelly Roll for this kind of small detailing, and I have tried it, but to be perfectly honest, I feel cursed with them. They never come out quite as good. I usually end up getting some that skip. I don't know if it's old stock that I've purchased at the store or if I am just not keeping them or storing them in the best position. But these watercolors are working out a lot better for me. And I am really looking forward to Inktober. I don't think I will be doing so much watercolor in my ink works for that. I want to try to actually do the entire run solely in inks, so I have some watercolor postcards that I picked up in Japan that I haven't used much of since I got them. So I think I would like to just make a collection of small ink pieces with those. I was pretty happy with how this one turned out, and it is now already up in the shop if you are interested. As simple as it is, I really like this. I wish I could capture that metallic in print. I'm going to do some tests and see what I can do with it. I still need to test the light fastness with the Jack Richardson set, so I think I might be doing some experimentation next week. This week's picture is fairly simple, so it took me approximately 30 to 40 minutes. And that's all for this week, guys. I hope this was entertaining to watch. Thank you so much all. All art supplies used are mentioned in the description as usual, with affiliate links to help you out if you want to try them yourselves. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help small channels. I'd really love to see the art that you guys are doing, and if you are participating in Inktober, please make sure to let me know. I will be happy to follow you and see what you guys are doing. You can comment down below or follow me on Instagram at AshtonKaylee. Shoot me a DM there or just start tagging me in your works. Can't wait to see what you guys are doing. Oh my goodness, look at that. So much shimmer. It's so beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy painting!